Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So as most of you know, I typically do not sell parts. I get confused quite a bit with Mike's Mini Trail out in Idaho, which is a parts supplier, bike restore, and so forth. And I understand that, obviously, you know, the Mike name and so forth, but hell, any male born in the 60s got named Mike, so it's pretty easy. There's a lot of us out there. But anyway, I don't typically sell parts, but in today's video, I actually do have something for sale. I had a customer reach out to me, and he wanted a harness. He wanted a plug-and-play harness. Like most of you, he struggles with wiring, and he wanted something as simple as possible. I believe he was putting a Lifan in a CT70 K0, which doesn't have turn signals. So I set him up, or I built a harness, and what I was going to sell him was the harness, the key switch, and the voltage regulator. Typically, when you buy a Lifan engine, you get the CDI and you get the coil with it. So he didn't need those items. I went ahead and just installed everything on this harness just so I can show you that it does work. And then typically, you know, your bike has the lights already involved and switches and those sorts of things. So what I'm looking to sell is the harness, the key switch, and the voltage regulator. Actually, if you don't need the voltage regulator, though, you can probably buy it on Amazon cheaper than what you can buy it from me. Because I'm not a parts retailer, I'm paying the same price you guys are. So by the time I mark it up, anything you add to this is just going to be more expensive than what you really need to pay. But so I was going to sell him the harness, the key switch, and the voltage regulator for $135, and that was shipped to his door. And I'm looking to stay within the 48 United States. I don't know what, I've never done international shipping or anything like that, so I don't know what additional costs are those things. So I'm looking just to sell it locally. And then if for some odd chance, if there is something else you want to add or delete off of it, I can do that. We can adjust price. My email and my PayPal are ct70help@gmail.com. So probably email me first, make sure I've got it. I guess if multiple people need it, I can always make another one or two, whatever. So but anyway, so I just thought I'd make a video, throw that out there. I think I'll go ahead and just run through it, just kind of show you that it does work and how it works. So yeah, let's do that. I typically start at the back end, so we'll start back here, and I'll probably zoom you in a little bit closer in just a second. I just want to kind of show you. It's set up for a battery to be hooked to it if you want to hook a battery. All the lights and everything will work without a battery. You don't have to have that, but since I don't have an engine hooked up to this to provide the power, I went ahead and hooked a battery to this one. So, for example, when you turn the key on or you start the engine, the way this is set up, the lights come on automatically. So you got a tail light, a headlight, and then this is the illumination for the speedometer that comes on. And then this is the brake switch. So if you look at the tail light, you'll see the brake light comes on. It has the wiring up at the headlight for the front brake switch up here. I do not have a switch hooked up to it, but for example, I can touch the yellow and green wire and the hot wire together, and you should see the brake light come on there. Okay. It's also equipped with horn, so you can hook a horn up to it. And then it also is ready to go for high-low beam. You can see this light came on when I switched to high beam. Okay. So it's a fully functional harness, pretty much ready to go. Just plug it in and you should be up and running. So the back is pretty simple, very simple actually. There's really only 3 wires on the back that you have to worry about, and that is the the brown wire for the tail light, the green and yellow for the brake light, and then it's got a ground wire included. This particular light, you can see I've run a little jumper. It gets grounded through the frame, through the bracket, but I went ahead and hooked a jumper wire to a ground wire, so just to make it work. But you know, it's got the plugs for the CDI and the voltage regulator. It's got an inline fuse, and it comes with 2 grounds. One will go to the battery if you want to use the battery, and then I recommend hooking this one to the frame, just so that the whole system is grounded together. So that's the back. Pretty simple. Not can't really screw anything up there. Just those 3 wires. As you move up the harness, it's got the 2 sets of plugs for the brakes, the rear brake switch, and the 12-volt coil. I've set this up for a coil that uses the 2 wire so that the body does not have to be grounded. If you have a coil that only has 1 wire, you can still use it. Just plug it into the black and gold, and then, but your body of your coil will then need to be grounded to the frame. It also, these are all the wires that plug into the engine, and it does have a neutral indicator wire included. As soon as I figure out which one it is, it's this one over here. Now on a K0, the speedometer doesn't have a neutral indicator light, so probably won't use that. But if you use this on, say, a K1, which does have a neutral light, you could use that green and red wire. Okay, moving up, you've just got a standard 4-wire key switch that can be unplugged and plugged. And then the front is where, you know, everybody usually struggles with the wiring, but I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. Now we've got sorry for the noise, we've got a real mess here, as typically you have in a headlight bucket. But I think now that I've shown you that everything does work, I'm going to unplug all this real quick so that you can get a better look at it. Get all these wires, get all this out of here, and just get down to the harness. Okay, so let me double check what you're looking at. Zoom you in a little bit. So I had to get the headlight to work off of the battery. I had the high-low switch, the power for the high-low switch that then goes to the headlight. I was running it through one of these black wires, which all of the black wires are hot 12 volts when you have a battery hooked up or the engine is running. They also will work when the engine's running. And I had it hooked up that way. Typically what I would do would be hook the yellow wire to the high-low switch, the red-brown of the high-low switch, and power the headlight through the yellow wire. That wire only gets juice when the engine is running. So if you do hook a battery in line, you turn the key on, your headlight's not going to come on until you start the engine. That just takes a little bit of the stress off of the battery, running the headlight just off of the stator. So it's just got a few wires here. The black ones I said are power. You'll hook one to the horn. Will plug into one of the blacks. The front brake switch will plug into a black wire. Your illumination for your speedometer is a brown wire to brown wire, and then a ground to ground. This red and green is that neutral indicator. Yellow's for the headlight. This yellow and green is for the front brake switch, and then we just got a couple grounds. Really, really simple. Very simple to set up. So I don't know. If anybody's interested in it or interested in one in general, let me know. I can always make more, but $135. And I was going to include the harness, the key switch, and the voltage regulator. If you're looking to buy other items, I can supply you with those horns and horn buttons and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, you can probably buy that at someone who is set up to sell those things cheaper than what I am. But if you just want to get a kit that's all inclusive from one place, I can try and help you out on that. So anyway, hit me up with an email and we'll go from there. All right, guys, everybody have a great day. See you on the next video.